Sports betting is the primary focus of this topic due to a lack of literature on the betting market, specifically its low quality and targeting of beginners with 100% books. These books only scratch the surface of what you can understand on your own in a day. First and foremost, you need to understand that there are no secrets in betting. All the information used for betting is available to everyone, except for the accumulated knowledge that emerges over time. It's generally accepted that bettors are very gambling-oriented people, but I can tell you from experience that when you understand the process, it becomes the quietest and most boring job in the world. Bettors follow the path of numbers, analyzing handicap odds and totals, attempting to mathematically recalculate them by devising various theories, rules, and strategies. The numbers might seem plausible, but the goal is to beat the odds. Players are often convinced that once they've mastered the material, they are different from other players and deserve success. We are used to expecting a bonus for our efforts, but why put effort into a path that hundreds of thousands have already tried without success? I've mentioned before that there is only one way to make money on bets, finding the value bet or mathematical advantage in the line of a bookmaker's office, which is usually accompanied by a subsequent drop in the odds of the selected simple bet. For instance, if you bet on an outcome at odds of 2 and after some time, the odds change to 1.9, then your bet was a value bet, meaning it had a mathematical advantage. If you understand this and are ready to move forward, then I'm pleased to inform you that you can get at least some advantage. However, bets must exceed the bookmaker's margin, through which the offices earn. To place a value bet, you need not only to beat the bookmaker's margin but also to achieve a mathematically positive value that translates into income in the long run. If this seems difficult, let me clarify that no office in the world can simultaneously provide the correct odds on all sports events. Our task is to find value and use it to our advantage, which can be done manually or with the help of various tools like an odds scanner. However, there are only 3 cases in which this value, the first line output, may appear, due to odds movement, flow of bets, and errors in the line. It's worth noting that in the case of an error, 9 out of 10 bookmakers will refund the bet. The difference between a professional and a beginner lies in the ability to distinguish a value bet from a non-value one. Those who win usually don't rush to place a bet in pursuit of favorable odds. There's a big temptation to bet sooner, but hastily made decisions often lead to errors. To avoid this, one needs to study the odds offered by the bookmaker for events and not rush to find errors. The golden rule for success in betting is knowledge of the bookmaker's line. The first benefit of this rule is that betting on a team not to lose in football is less profitable than a handicap of 0.1 for the team due to underestimated odds. When playing over a distance, income on no-draw bets is lower. However, this is true only when the handicap coefficient is not significantly different from the odds on no losses. To understand better, we need to grasp the odds and the difference in coefficient between choosing a 0.1 handicap for the first team and a null-a bet, provided the teams have roughly equal chances of victory. For example, the odds for the first team to win are 2.7, 3.2 for a draw, and 2.7 for the second team's victory. In such conditions, the coefficient for the first team not to lose is 1.47 and for a draw is 1.9, with a total of 2.5 in both directions. The difference of 0.43 gives a tangible value. This is because a low coefficient yields less income and more supplements than a higher one. If there were no supplements, we would be given a coefficient of 1.66, resulting in a break-even point, but they give us 1.47, and with another 0.1 coefficient for a 0.1 handicap, the real odds without a margin are 2, and here we only lose 0.01, just because of the bookmaker's margin. The difference is almost twice the loss on the margin. We considered an average match where the chances are 2 to 2 goals, almost equal. If we take a higher scoring match, the more goals expected, the lower the chance of a draw and the greater the loss. If expected in the match are more than 3 goals, it's worth considering a bet on the first team's victory instead of a 0.1 handicap. There are certainly chances for a score of 2 to 2 or 3 to 3, where a 0.1 handicap is considered a return, but they are much lower than the victory of one of the teams. 0 handicaps in football are more profitable to take in. Foraminifera has lost some of its value, so how is the coefficient cut? Is it worth it? Let's imagine taking positive odds in football when they give a head start to the first team of -6.5 and the handicap for the second team is +6.5 at odds of 1.9. In this case, it is better to take the head start but at +6.5 for a higher coefficient. The explanation is simple: the price of the ball isn't great, and if the team can win with a 6-goal difference, who's stopping them from scoring the 7th? So, flipping heads or tails for 1.9 makes no sense to take odds of 2 or even better, 3. A positive handicap team capable of scoring 7 goals doesn't always set itself the goal of defeating. It can win comfortably with a score of 2:0 or 3:0. In this case, your +6.5 handicap will win the bet, not the match result. The chance that the score will be 6:0 is slim, and you set the +6.5 handicap, practically ensuring your bet. Of course, in sports, anything is possible, but such a bet will not bring you profits in the long run, and your bank will gradually empty out. Let's play the forum -8.5, provided that we have a mathematical advantage over the line, the coefficient increases sharply. The price of the ball remains the same. Totals in such matches are secondary because the bookmaker puts the odds on the underdog. But in line, odds on -8.5 and the total will be more than 9.5, with approximately equal chances of scoring. With such a handicap, bookmakers estimate with odds lower than 1.5. Essentially, choosing total over 9.5 means you'd rather bet on a score of 10:0 than on a score of 9-1. Why choose 10:0 when you can take a handicap of -8.5? Yes, no one excludes the score of 10-1 when your handicap still has a chance, similar to the 9-1. The first thing that must be done to understand the basics of betting is to eliminate absurd bets. By doing so, you'll lose less money, and as costs decline, profits begin to appear. Over time, you'll accumulate a wealth of knowledge and understanding of betting strategies. Let's return to our match with a -6.5 handicap and +6.5. Most often, a professional player will play the second team's goal with a coefficient of 3 or higher. Primarily in football, every team can score. Let them score a goal. Prestige is an unspoken, gentlemanly rule. I've often watched matches where in added time, the underdog scores. You can choose other similar bets, like both teams will score. The favorite doesn't have to score 7 goals per game. Half, they can do it with ease. In the second, the outcome can draw in the first half and victory in the second for a coefficient that is pleasing to the eye, often above 20. A goal is slightly less common in the first minutes from the underdog, and the outcome of victories by half P2 and P1 respectively can also be played. But this bet will also be highly valued by the bookmaker. The more obvious the balance of power in the match, the more obvious the course of events. Teams need to prove they can play like any result. 3 points for the favorite will reach both when the score is 1:0 and when the score is 10-9. Be more creative in your search, study the odds, and bet selection market. Let's assume you chose a bet with a head start of +0 for the outsider. Gradually, according to the movement of the line, it ceases to be. But the ratio has already dropped significantly and seems unprofitable. Please note, look at the whole line. Odds for the outcome have changed, individual totals more often. The team total line doesn't keep up with the forums. Besides, as the rule stated above, each team can score against any opponent, and on this topic, there is another topic on this channel dedicated specifically to bets on goals by the outsider and possible profit on it. Precisely based on data from this strategy, I can tell you if in line, individual total is offered for more than one underdog goal and individual total over 2 goals is not a favorite for the same odds, without hesitation, I'll choose the first one. This also applies to bets on the last goal in the match. If this market gives 1.7 for the first team and 2.2 for the other, then taking into account all the randomness of this outcome, it's better to choose the second option. But not only an understanding of the value and type of sport will give us a guaranteed win on bets. It's important to understand that the value of a single bet is leveled by distance, becoming a drop in the bucket for you. It will take a lot of time and effort to develop the base and fill this sea with drops.